my husband Jack.
Save your breakfast.
But then he might not want to talk about that.
I got the shit kicked out of me in front of the limbo. Give off.
What's wrong with people? Being so stupid, so mean. Lately, I started volunteering at this place called Nichols Community Center. And they do some really good work. They stuff for runaways, they feed the hungry, they make home visits to people with AIDS. My friend, his daughter just came out to sue my friend, so just trying to show solidarity.
Solidarity.
That's all.
Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge. Point is, greed is good.
I got cash in all my pockets, funds in all my apps. Call up a girl with zero cents in her Uber, then Cash App. If she out, call her pay gas. I might tip if she got ass. I'm tripping cause I got it. I'm a boss, nigga, don't ask. Yeah, from boss mode to beast mode, back and forth I switch. Ask me a stupid question, I tell you to ask your bitch. Yeah, I'm trapping, I'm balling, I'm hustling, hood rich. Yeah, you wanna know about me, then you better ask your bitch. Yeah, whole money's for show money. I get fast money and slow money. All money's not good money, cause your money be so funny. I'm a boss dude making boss moves with a bad bitch with no attitude. She give me head with gratitude, then clean my room and cook my food. If you broke, then get fixed, cause it don't make no sense. Being broke is the equivalent of ignorance, you bitch. If you broke, then get fixed, cause it don't make no sense. Being broke is the equivalent of ignorance, you bitch. Yeah, ask me for credit, you won't get it, you're just out of luck. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. You need a loan until your payday, I don't give a fuck. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Get your money up, bitch, get your money up. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Get your money up, nigga, get your money up. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Yeah, I've been living my dreams. Fucking bitches and get money off these pornographic streams. Yeah, I know my haters envy me. I live my life doing all the things they do in their dreams. Wake up, I sleep when I'm dead. Rest my eyes instead when I'm not chasing bread. I'm focused and determined to get my bread. For a man that don't hustle or grind won't get fed. Yeah, I got my bitch with your bitch, cause your bitch is my bitch. My bitch show your bitch just how to throw my dick. Yeah, your bitch is bad, but my bitch is better. Yeah, your bitch got some ass, but my bitch ass is fatter. That means your bitch is a ladder and your broke life don't matter. Fuck you, just pay me, your feelings don't matter. No handouts, no loan. God bless me with my own. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for I am not broke. If you're broke, then get fixed, cause it don't make no sense. Be broke the equivalent of ignorance, you bitch. If you're broke, then get fixed, cause it don't make no sense. Being broke the equivalent of ignorance, you bitch. Yeah, ask me for credit, you won't get it, you just out of luck. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. You need a loan until your payday, I don't give a fuck. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Get your money up, bitch, get your money up. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Get your money up, nigga, get your money up. Broke lives don't matter, get your money up. Get your money up.
Yeah.
You see, I'm just a young nigga from the beat with a dream of making it past my city. So if hope don't want to stop me, I make them fight me like 50. Grinding and really tough. I know the times will be gritty, but fuck the game. I'm a milking for what it's worth. Can you feel me? I turn on the TV. I swear to God, it's never been clearer. Staring right into my future like looking in a mirror. With high resolve, pushing and give my all, and having my mama no longer stressing its own reward. I'm swinging my knuckles, beating the wall. These labels give me no credit. They dodging and ducking calls. They tell me they want the numbers, but say shit that's so bizarre. Like, look, with time you'll be great, but won't invest in me at all. These critics are always hating on me. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever live out my dreams. Shit, life is never what it seems. So fuck it all. This is by that young nigga from the fleet. Everybody offered their hands out, killing with these lyrics, he murderous written hands down. I'm fighting to be the only rapper who stands out. My father's gone, I guess that makes me the man now. Look, my rap game's so phenomenal. Working on this artistry, it's hard to be so logical. Niggas in my way, I target practice with these obstacles. Cut these haters down with lyrical rounds like the chopper do. I'ma prove you a real ass bitch, that's what your real ass gets. Tear them open, lyrics potent, watch this real ass switch. Now he's soaking, never joking with these real ass clips. Verses in your fucking life, that's some real ass shit. They say I'm cocky, I gotta be, let me stand tall. You haters whispering, life is plotting my downfall. But I ain't stopping till one day my father sees, smiling down on me in heaven. I made this young nigga from the pit.
See me, I'm from a bloodline of hustlers, head of the streets, either respected, love, hated, or fit in the streets. Don't want no problems, but I leave your ass a smear in the streets. Only the strong survive, if you weak, we delete. Mission complete, I'm born of innocence, but a villain. Been through a whole bunch of shit just to get my hands on some millions. Just a civilian until you get to playing with me. And then you find I got that ESOAK up in me. My whole mindset is money, make some and invest it. It busts a whole lot of moves just a taste of succession. Been denied by my people. Each and every last one of y'all. Obviously, I don't need none of y'all. Watch me, baby, I'm a law. Teach you how to be a billionaire. And if I don't make it, fuck it, yeah, I'll be a millionaire. I'm from the ghetto where the children end up being killers, yeah. And boys, we ain't careful in the streets of killers, yeah. All I ever had in this world is my balls and my word. And I feel in the smalls of my back. Yes, my life for wanting in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross great, close range, good night. All I had in this world is my balls and my word. And I feel in the smalls of my back. Yes, my life for wanting in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross great, close range, good night. All the parents to managers, just hold dramatic situations, permanent damages. We all want to be gangsters, but we just amateurs. It's us against these police niggas that want to hammer us. Dear Mr. President, what in the fuck you thinking? Poverty was a plan put together by y'all. Let that sink in. The ghetto was created for black people. We hated. Our children are cremated once they have sedated. Education is the lowest. There's no room to debate. The welfare is the trap. The healthcare ain't the greatest. You can't persuade us. Minimum wage, you know, they pay us. Then how we in the hospitals, cause ain't nobody laying down. Broke stomachs on empty. Got too many mouths to feed. Don't wanna tell me my hustle is whatever my struggle's not. Started out the Ant-Man. Now your boy's the goddamn juggernaut. I was taught to hug the block. Tug and squeeze, bust the Glock. Never give up, easy, keep running, nigga, fuck. Cops, gotta get your money is free. You gotta get your money is free. All I ever had in this world is my balls and my word. And I'm ill in the smalls of my back. And some other life I wanted in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross great, close range, good night. All I had in this world is my balls and my word. And I'm ill in the smalls of my back. And some other life I wanted in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross great. straight and get straight. And I was out here, I was in this back when y'all was riding bikes. Busting movies, I was out here teaching niggas how to drive. Sideways, so you suckers teaching rappers how to rhyme. Got this knife in the shooter, teaching niggas how to die. Got this coke, cook it up, teach you how to make it crack. Well, we came from nothing, so I know you could relate to that. Fact is fact, fuck the world, fuck your girl. When I catch you, fuck you think you playing with. I would think you know that's a lot, but let's just say you out to several shots. When I caught you, it's too late for a doctor ball. There was in the office, what she need was they shove you in that coffin, work for all that tough talking. The people might have felt for it, my nine knew you was walking. Ashes to ashes, and dust to dust, even the good die young. When they fucking with bruh, I'm about the money. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Even the good die young when they fucking with bruh. I'm about that all that I had in this world is my balls and my word. And I kneel in the smalls of my back. And it's my life. So wanted in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross range, close range, good night. All I had in this world is my balls and my word. And I kneel in the smalls of my back. And it's my life. So wanted in this world is to live a good life. Though you ever cross range, close range, good night, bro.
Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene. Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene. Spend a minute in the game, it's about to show. Wise man said that you reap what you sow. Ash like grass, gotta let that shit grow. Money getting low, about time for a mo. Holding on to the past, better let that shit go. Life is a movie, so I let the camera roll. Swinging in the drop, looking cold like snow. Sevens all day, but you already know. Baby looking passenger seat. Life moving fast when I slide in the streets. Silk so smooth when we slide in the sheets. Eating with the feast, but I still with the beat. Eating by the bed if you still want to creep. Counting on my bread while y'all count shit. Price going up in the hills hella steep. Game on edge, got y'all in the league. Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene. Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene. Wake up to a blunt and some fresh juice. Green apple ginger with the grapefruit. Wine blowing up, what's the next move? 8:32 in the game like I can't lose. Be up in that movie or the evening news. Cali weather hot, gotta stay cool. I'm trying to feel a cool breeze while I roll these purple leaves. Hear me swinging from the palm trees with two badass black queens. Ass so fat that they bust from the scene. I swear to God, life's a movie scene. I vowed every day to live a lavish dream. Wake up every morning with a new scheme. Gotta give a shout out to the old me. Circle small but still got a strong team. So the red camera gotta shoot the whole thing. Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene. Fresh grass over there looking so damn green. Baby over there looking so damn mean. Wake up in the morning just to live that dream. Life is a movie, let's shoot that scene.
Fresh C with an ace fit. Still high feed with the bait gig. Yeah, ill advised crew, never keep a distance. Run them hard on the mission. Hit them like, yeah, we in this bitch. Me and McFly in the 1800 in this bitch. We fresher than the biz. Zero plus giving now on the rip. My nigga like, in the streets in the lanes passing. Go sideways on them like a street action. Ain't worried about tires cause they everlasting. Low brakes on gas. Hit it like, what? O2 Slayer, Frisco Giant, Oakland Raider, Bay Area Players, twin set of niggas hit the donuts up a roof out on the haters. My nigga like, stun like a big timing. Straight this for the cash, so we stay grinding. Days when I drink Mac Dre shining. Jigger and stay fly with it. Hit it like, in the streets is all love from Vallejo to Jose, the Bay Area 1. And when we out of town, all the folks show us love. They can tell in the club where we from, cause we hit it like, they is on me, yeah, it's on me, Bay's 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 on me,
Back to the east, so heartless, where your boy learned how to be a beast. Regardless, where anybody gotta say you gotta get paid, and if they ain't the way, they gotta get laid out or teased. I'm chilling in the studio with some OGs. When I'm on a mission, dog, never catch me flipping and off. Cause draws over on the corner right next to the burner. Yeah, I played with my life and some niggas try to pull it. When I think about it, it was all over bullshit. Damn, how can that motherfucker really have friends going in? 9, 8, let me count down. Fist full of goons that got my back down. Make it way for my name, I cannot back down. My name is too smooth, I want my crown.
yeah. Bay's on me, 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 Bay's on me.
Drunk came from my damn phone, nigga stumbled to the car, the fuck I'm getting home. Drunk on fifth, now really, man, I'm gone. This hood rap bitch keep grabbing on my phone. Brand new fit on my brand new shit. Had to fit trying to find a brand new bitch. Said an old man acting brand new and shit. Left him at the bitch looking for some brand new dick. Yeah. Still foreign as my getaway driver. Rob a nigga for his brow, let us sit all on the side. We don't need a room, she can hit all up beside it. Treat it like a Motel 6 all up beside it. Yeah, my nigga who got that fire. Murder man fly, drug dealer my top. Said that nigga Allen clean and you a lie. Tell me if she need dope dick, I'm the supply like what?
Bay's on me, 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 Bay's on me.
707 to 9 to 5, it's the 510 to 415, it's the Yay area, Golden Gate. Hey, I do it big for the Golden State. Hey, Bay order, every city, every town. Better ask somebody how we getting down from the dope era. No, we don't play. From the home at E40 and Mac Dre.
Now the fellas better know I'm gangster. I'm late to the bay, I'm smashing. Dipping and flipping and going and baby rapping out of police.
Millie, like niggas acting silly. She can make me get the blicky from my nigga Lil Willie. Benny Mac Diggs, he was rolling with his mama, trying to avoid the drama. Listen to some real game, that's a Muslim guy. Such my Cali weed up in the Fanta. You know I keep a lot of pounds of the ganja. LA for lay out at the romper room. Lil Willie know I be in Concord soon. Something like a homie, something like a rider dude. Something like an uncle, something like a father fool. I told him let your face be bigger than your fears. I'm gonna let the baby do it all year.
707 to 9 to 5, it's the 510 to 415, it's the Yay area, Golden Gate. Hey, I do it big for the Golden State. Hey, Bay order, every city, every town. Better ask somebody how we getting down from the dope era. No, we don't play. From the home at E40 and Mac Dre.
Flying through the Golden Gate, bitch, I'm from the far away. Golden Cali, Golden State, yeah, I know that. Hey, keep a big Glock on my side, slug penetrate. Getting money every day. Hey, I'm just trying to elevate. Try a little Willie, pop a nigga like a Willie. If a nigga try to play me, slap a nigga. Is he silly from the home of Mac Dre? My nigga, I'm from the Bay. So we go try the whip and smoke weed every day.
I'm from the Bay, and every day we smoke good. We're the plane with Mary Jane and pre-roll wood. So when we land, whether the States or Japan, we talk slick, swallow spit, cause we cool as a pan. And she see it, the type of shit we on. She wanna get close and smell my cologne. And it's a cookies and runts, the bags of blunts. It don't matter cause we doing what the fuck we want.
707 to 9 to 5, it's the 510 to 415, it's the Yay area, Golden Gate. Hey, I do it big for the Golden State. Hey, Bay order, every city, every town. Better ask somebody how we getting down from the dope era. No, we don't play. From the home at E40 and Mac Dre. Merry Christmas, whole family eating gumbo. Most smiles for my bros when I come through. Spread love, do it big and it's not small. FATA, family and that's all. Living in the Bay, living by the water. Call me count it up cause I'm trying to make $1. If you don't want me to have to call Pop Trunk to get it jumping on fools like a slam dunk. Hey, and I'm rocking this drip drop. I was raised on hyphy and hip hop. This the West Coast, love around the whole globe. Got Girls coming out their bathrobes on BART. We riding on these same tracks. Do my thing, just trying to get my game back. Bay business, call this the Bay Order. With my amigos, yeah, they came across border. 707 to 925. It's the 510 to 415. It's the Gay Area, Golden Gate. Hey, I do it big for the Golden State. Hey, Bay Order, every city, every town. Better ask somebody how we getting down. From the dope era, no, we don't play. From the home at E40 and Mac Drake. They want me to rock that. Nice chain on, Rolex, diamond watch. I'm gonna rock some physical like that. Step back into they soul, you know what I'm saying?
Look, I don't mess with the physical. If I get to shining, they make me listen up. Now I ain't deviating, I'm still on a mission, bro. Trying to wake the blind, don't see which way to go. Hey, I don't mess with the physical, I'm just tapping into the soul. Living life on the go. Rabbit hole, it get deep, I'm going as deep as it go. We're fishing the boat, I'm breaking the code. No defense, it's Fibonacci. Hit them with this knowledge, hit them like I'm rap. Gotta keep it humble, no need to get caught. High frequency, I don't think you can tap it. So I'm here to let you know, you got in the flesh, that's show. Hold on to your mind, never ever let it go. I'm just trying to feel, trying to get it off the flow. Waking people up, time to get in God mode. It's real. Yeah, it's real. Keep it real. Yeah, keep it real. It's real. Keep it 100. Keep it real. Keep it real. It's real. Keep it real.
Yeah. Out here flexing like the woke. See straight through you. I don't need no telescope. I don't need your constitution. I don't need your white hope. I don't need your good deeds. Taking hits, wrap around like I'm Creed. Why you plotting on my essence? Yeah, steady counting on my blessings. Yeah, this ain't equal competition. If you can't keep it real, it's a character and vision. Only follow intuition, say facts. Never like saying shit I gotta take back. That's the kind of vibe that you can't hijack. Me and my crew set. I put that on my zodiac. Yeah. And I keep it wavy. Stay rooted deep so you really can't shade me. Keep my aura clean so your energy don't phase me. 2 elevators so my soul can be great deep.
Real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, keep it real. It's real. Gotta keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real.
I'm who they don't wanna be. I'm what they don't wanna see. I was gonna wanna date a nigga like myself and lights come on, I'm who they be. I'm selling niggas a dream. I'm taking these bitches innocence. Where did the world go wrong? I don't know when, I don't give a shit. All I know, give me my paper. All I know, give me my check. All of those who don't respect is sucker dick or meet the tech. Suckers get the meat and make it when we meet it, not the tech, you sending threats. Put a hole in this esophagus for talking out beside his neck. I'm out here selling cocaine, ain't saying weed, even got the lean. I grew up inside the dope game. Me, bro, what the fuck you mean? Couple $1,000 in my jeans, chopper in the trunk like a spare tight. Mama brought me hooked on finance, to be honest, I still can't spare tight. Fuck a job, fuck good credit, fuck a loan if I can buy it kinesthetic. Fuck love, fuck a girlfriend, matter of fact, after we fuck the fuck around me. Fake hate, real niggas pound me, known for the iron like Robert Downey. Been the state feds in the county, y'all extra soft, y'all like bounty. Gold chain swing, put some rounds on the biz. In the kitchen at grandma's cooking chicken, nigga whipping it. Finna pimp me a bitch, put a bitch on the strip. All the weak praise beans getting made, came for cup noodles to lobster and shrimp. I'm what they don't wanna be. I'm what they don't wanna see. I don't wanna date a nigga like myself and knock him in the registry. I'm selling niggas the truth. I'm giving these bitches inspiration. I know somewhere we went wrong, but we'll be Gucci. All we need is patience. All I know, knowledge is power. All I know, power corrupts. You don't press the items on your dresser, and that's how I know that you stuck.
Black nigga never killed a member of the clan, but killing his own fam. Never commit a crime out the country or another state, only in homeland. Stressing his mama while she support him. She second guess her option to abort him. His daddy a perfect killer, what they called him. Independent women, household bottom, suffer from lack of identity. See a nigga remedy. Niggas be shopping that look like they popping and know the logos on the tendencies. Build credit, Wi-Fi, will bring you rent a place and you still working. These fame bitches self-plan, so when you trade it in, shit is still worth it. Real Philly fake hater nigga. Roll the judge and invade shit. I know the system that created niggas, the reason behind all this craziness. So open up a book, let the spirit get empowered. Watch a fake coward has the power towers blown like a flower, nigga. Stop all that nigga shit. Stop being ignorant. I bet when you finish it, you will bear witness that you were listening to hypocrites.
That nigga just look, it go head, shoulders, knees, toes. Never trust these hoes on the phone. It's just a whole bitch. It go head, shoulders, knees, toes. Ain't no friends, these bros on God now. Hey, what the motherfucking problem is? Go hey, Macarena, Macarena, Macarena. Me and bro hit the block and he don't never take a stand up on the truth. With the rock, I'm on the court and calling plays outside with my partners that be really bringing cans out. Trying to show some love cause all that hate shit is played out. My big cousin, he had death cause he done took the Robert K route. Niggas mad at Young D Jizzle cause I took the Sugar Ray route. I'm outside and I'm gonna stay out. I'm gonna fight my fucking way out. I'm gonna whip some till it's rocks on my neck. Oh, I'm big, bruh. Bitch, I need my respect. Ain't no bitch blood. Who gon' press? Who gon' check? Smoking big woods. I'm wide open, I'm flexing. I've been the freshest on the mic. I ain't just regular when I rhyme. I'm always repping for the side of the day. Fuck it up. Been on my mom, I'm trying to slide and put this dick off in your life. I'm waiting for you to hit these bites so I can bust it. Go head, shoulders, knees, toes. I'ma fuck these hoes. I'm on my I can't lie. Hey. It go head, shoulders, knees, toes. You can catch these balls on 10th, nigga. Hey, there's no fear, nigga. Why? 14 grams got a nigga off the ground. 38 in special, ain't never jam. Riding with the Jimmy, ain't had no 5 pin. Only got one shot, so if I bust, I gotta kill. She ain't know that I've been out here thugging, now she care about me. Bet you wish I stayed the way I was, I just can't feel shot. Niggas play me like I was a dub, and I ain't forget about it. I'ma do my thing, and I don't care how niggas feel about it. Go head, shoulders, knees, toes. I can't trust these hoes. On God, nigga. On the mama, nigga. Hey. It go head, shoulders, knees, toes. Niggas act like these hoes. Big facts, nigga. Yeah, what you mean it's bad, nigga? Hey, everything I need on me. My pistol, my bitch, my weed. Your mama don't need to meet me. Cause your mama ain't finna like me. Guess I keep it gutter still in my white teeth. Smoking black and mouse, drinking on a high seat. Fell in love with Shawty, make the darkest iced tea. 10 years later, Shawty looking like me. I never had to ask who the fuck should I be. I knew who I was back when I was 5 feet. Looking like a bull, that's just part of my speech. Country than a bitch, yeah, pardon my speech, my speech.
Woo, what's going down, everybody? Anna's Global Radio. Anna, you in the building?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, going live. All right, okay, going live on Facebook. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Roselle?
What's up?
Nice to see you.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm live. Let's see if it's coming through here. It's been another interesting week. The world is interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
I learned about bugs this week. Everybody, our DJ is a very nice guy. He came and helped an old lady get rid of some ants. So I was like,
Anna, we got to set you up. It's your turn next. You're next.
I know, man. There are way too many fucking ants in my house. They're down in the basement, and I don't know, man, it's only, they got in the cat's food, so I feel like it's only a matter of time till they get in mine, and it's fucking crazy. But the foundation for my house is cracked. I mean, this place is a mess. And the city, there's been, well, first of all, my landlady kind of forgot about it for a while. And that, I mean, it's on me. I could have reminded her. I hate asking for stuff. And even though she's a friend, I just have this instinctual thing to not call the landlord about stuff, because I just feel like every every time they're reminded of a tenant, it can make them think about raising the rent. That's kind of the logic. I sort of feel like I like the people I'm renting from to kind of like forget that I'm there. So, but yeah, that was not a very good idea when it comes to a cracked foundation, and the city keeps, I don't know, the city keeps fucking up, and my landlady forgets to call them, and I finally called them, and they said something or other that, and she said like, oh no, we got that in. And I told her that my neighbor's son, who's 11, told me that he is having nightmares about the house crashing. So she really didn't like that. So she kind of, that really got them motivated, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, being 11 years old is rough enough without being worried that your house is going to fall down. So yes. That's what's going on here. Vallejo City Council is meeting tonight for the first time in about a month at least. And see, one of the things they're talking about doing, it's nuts. They have this attitude of raising people's salaries to prevent, to make them comparable to other areas. I mean, and I agree with that for the most part. You need to pay people in the public sector well enough to keep them from going to the private sector. And that is a big issue and very much connected to something we've been talking about here, which is student loan assistance, forgiveness, whatever is going to be happening. However, they want to give the city attorney a raise, and her contract isn't even up for another year. So it's like, why are you going to do that? I mean, who gets that? That's nobody. I mean, who gets a raise like right before their contract, like a year before their contract is up? And I just feel like with some of them, they're saying like, we don't want them to be lured away. And I'm thinking like, oh, come on, some of their staff, it's not like these people are that great, let them get lured away, hire someone else. So I was staying out of that. I was getting ready for the show, and I was out helping out at the food distribution and trying to help with the endless process of raising money. I don't like raising money for my own events, but it's kind of fun when it's somebody else's event, or not just events or programs. So what I'm trying to do with Food is Free Bay Area is get us situated for all the places where people for the holidays, there's all these holiday parties. Okay, just warning, my internet is unstable, so if I bug out, that's why. It's been all fucked up. So there's always, you go to all these holiday parties where they have like bring a can of food and events. So I'm trying to like get us into places instead of the food bank, because everybody like donates to the food bank. So I just like took these pictures and sent them to somebody I know, just saying like, okay, what do we need to do to boot out the food bank and get people to donate to us instead? Because lots of people donate to the food bank. We're just kind of a scrappy little thing. So, the Queen of England is dead. Did you follow any of that, Roselle?
Not really. I'm not gonna lie now.
Pardon me?
I said no, I didn't.
Yeah. So my mother was obsessed with the Queen of England, and I always found it sort of like ridiculous, but I definitely like, whatever, I'll admit it, like in later years, I do kind of follow what's, I do. I think what's interesting about monarchy is just that it goes against everything it's so unnatural to think that somebody can be born into a certain position that you like and it's certainly, it's wealth and privilege it's not far off. Like, say, if you're like born into some wealthy family that owns corporations and you like head it, there's a lot of, that's real hereditary too. And that is certainly the case with politics here in the United States. There's and all over the world. Even places where governments are elected, it's still real hereditary. But with monarchy, it's like your baby's born and they're gonna do this, and that's just kind of interesting. It's so like, I don't know, your idea of personhood is so different. However, there's other things that are interesting. And okay, so there used to be a saying, which is the sun never sets on the British Empire, which because Great Britain owned like over half of the world. They colonized so many countries, including the United States way back when. And so it's one of the things that's said about like whether there's kind of like a national complex in England or Great Britain or whatever, because they used to be so wealthy and powerful, and now they're not. So there's something called the Commonwealth, which is former colonies, and after they gained independence from Great Britain, they had the choice to join an organization called the Commonwealth, and you join it if you're a former colony or there are these weird categories where the Queen is the head of state. The monarch is that of England, of Great Britain, is the head of state, but they don't get to do anything. And it's kind of like, and that's called constitutional monarchy. So there's 15 member states of the Commonwealth, and basically it is for trade, it is for deals, and it's financial, like most things. That's why a lot of things happen. So okay, and then so there's 15 states, and then 36 members are the Commonwealth are republics, and So in those 15 member states, the Queen is the head of state. Kind of, even though she doesn't really do anything, she doesn't really have power over people, but I don't know. So this is kind of where it gets into a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about here, is reconciling with the past, because these Commonwealth countries are former colonies, which means that England, because it was England that enriched themselves. I mean, it's weird because it's really bad to say, you have to say Great Britain instead of England, because the countries that are from Great Britain, like people that are Scottish or Welsh, get really offended if you say English, because they're not English. They're part of the United Kingdom, and Northern Ireland is still part of the United Kingdom, and the Republic of Ireland isn't. That is one of those things that I'm always worried I'll get wrong, because people get real pissed when you get that wrong, because that was an independence struggle going into the 90s, and the United States, people were real cognizant of it in the United States. I mean, partially because of like ancestry from Ireland, and also because that was a rebellion by white people. And the United States cares more about stuff like that. The same reason people are all agog about Ukraine. So yeah, that's our fabulous United States. So okay, so a couple of the countries have different monarchs. So anyway, like we followed the Bahamas when, like, so now there's more and more countries that are talking about ditching the Queen as head of state, and she was queen for 70 years. So but hardly anybody remembers anybody else being the monarch. So the suspicion has been that after she dies, there were more countries would want to break away and become republics. Bahamas did a year ago. A year or two ago. Jamaica is saying that they're going to do it. The Prime Minister of New Zealand just said that her country isn't going to move to become a republic. However, I think I think she was partially just being polite, since the Queen just died. But also, I mean, it is not entirely it's not just her decision. Stuff like that is put to a vote. There was Scotland was considering had a referendum about 2 years ago about breaking away from the United Kingdom and Scottish independence, and so that was pretty interesting. And it was one of those things, nobody really knew what was going to happen. It was almost evenly. It wasn't like a huge victory. There was not an overwhelming victory for staying in the United Kingdom, but there was enough of one so that Scotland stayed in the United Kingdom. And Canada, the Queen is the head of state in Canada. However, Canadians have never seemed to care that much about that. I don't know, probably some of them do, but my dad and me believe that nobody just really pays that much attention. But it becomes interesting politically, and so I've been because it's weird because the queen and the royal family like visit former colonies and get this. People are like real excited to see them. Well, people that aren't don't come out. Whereas if it were me, if somebody colonized my country or me, I don't want them to come back and visit. We've talked about that before. I'd just be like, get the fuck out, you know. It doesn't really make sense to me. So that is what some people of so a professor who is of Nigerian descent, when the queen was ill, tweeted that she hoped, you know, something like she hoped that the queen like suffered the same way her people had suffered. And people were, you know, she was getting this criticism. I'm like, oh my God, how can you say that? This old lady's dying. And so then she said that the queen is a representative of the cult of white womanhood. So I think that's kind of, that has some real accuracy. So she was getting, and you know, the queen's a public figure. People can say what they want. We even had this so I've just been watching different programs and reading different articles about, like, say, people that live in Kenya. There were major human rights abuses committed by the crown. And so what people say is, and I think this is very much what that particular professor meant when she was talking about the cult of white womanhood, that people will say, oh, well, it's not her fault that she didn't do the colonization and she presided over the Commonwealth, which is supposed to help all those nations. And so she's supposed, people so she should get credit for that. It's like, okay, you can't have it both ways. You can't exonerate her from colonialism and praise, and by saying that she's a figurehead, but then praise her for the Commonwealth. And so, okay, one or the other, she has agency or she does not. And so I was on Facebook on the page of Jamie, who's a professor I follow, who's very interesting. And so there was, somebody wrote this long passage basically saying, there were a couple of English people on Jamie's post who were being super defensive and saying, well, there's people saying like, oh, well, it was a different time. Like, no, that shit was never okay. And so somebody said something like about, you know, people didn't know what they were doing. And so I posted, yes, they did, because they suppressed the evidence. And I was talking about the Mau Mau abuses when Kenya was fighting for independence in the 1950s. England put people in concentration camps. They tortured people, and the records of this have only been starting to be released in like the past 10 years. So yes, people knew what they were doing was wrong, and that's why they hid it. And you know, you're at fault for knowing and hiding, and you're at fault for not knowing. It's either way, it's terrible and immoral and evil. So that was pretty much all I said. So then the guy like went off and was somehow or other, he wound up comparing me to, saying that like my logic would have excused Hitler. And I was like, huh? So I just wrote underneath it, that doesn't deserve a response, and blocked the guy. And so he was like going off. He said the same sort of thing to Jamie. Jamie Mayerfield is a professor of human rights at the University of Washington. I mean, I follow him. That's one of the reasons I follow him on Facebook, so that I can learn from him. So yeah, so it's been, I mean, so what I said, like, so far as the queen, like, no, I mean, she wasn't the one that went and colonized these places, but we can look at, she never she never apologized or anything. She never did anything. So I said that, like, so far as comparing it to the United States, you can compare it to any of us, like there's, any of us, like white people whose family didn't own plantations or stuff, we still benefit from white privilege and have responsibilities for how to behave. So it doesn't matter whether what we do as individuals matters, and what we do as people that live in the world matters. So it's been very interesting, and it's definitely given motivation or impetus to countries that are looking at breaking away, at ditching the monarch. Jamaica's government last year announced plans to ask London for compensation for an estimated 600,000 Africans who were shipped to the island to the financial benefit of British slaveholders. So, like, basically, I mean, all the British monarchy has jewels. They have so much stuff. And here in the US, when people talk about reparations, there's always this talk about, oh, well, where's the money going to come from? And there are places where the money could come from, where there's capital. The universities that are making reparations are doing it out of their endowments, and the insurance companies that denied the Tulsa Massacre victims insurance payouts can be sued from, like, their principal, because, like, basically that's money that people have been hanging on to since then, some of them, but there are fewer, there's fewer obvious ways to do it, but the British monarchy has jewels, they have possessions, they have lots of things that have been plundered, and those are things that could make a big difference to people, to the countries that they were taken from. So yeah, I've been posting these on Facebook that I saw someone like, okay, well, now they're distracted, go in the museums and get your shit. So there's ways to do that. And I don't know, I mean, there's people that are saying this is never, there's people that feel like, why are we even talking about this? It's never going to happen. But I think you need to try to do the right thing. And that's why I'm contributing. That's why I'm trying to support the survey here in Vallejo, which and yeah, to do whatever I can, because I think it's the right thing, and I want to help, and a lot of things wouldn't happen if you just you know, if you just said they wouldn't, you have to try. And even if something doesn't happen, you still make changes through trying. I mean, even if you don't get your ultimate goal, there's still progress along the way that matters.
I agree.
Okay, so the state of Israel has just now said that they're going to start a study to analyze the differences between Jews of Ashkenazi, which is European origins, and you know, European Jews, and those of Mizrahi, who are North African and Middle Eastern. They've never done that, which is I mean, it is just such a brilliant, I mean, it's just the perfect way to hide economic injustice and racism, because if they're saying everybody's the same, so they're going to use the statistics and saying that it's the same for everyone, that the numbers, whereas if you split it up, you're going to see the differences. And there is statistical information which not coming from the government about economic hardships of Mizrahi people, discrimination with housing, big time. So Israel's National Statistical Bureau decided last month to begin publishing data that is expected to shed light on one of the most politically charged divisions in Israeli society. So they're going to release the statistics of socioeconomic differences. Because, like, basically, if you know how statistics are, I mean, a lot of the time they'll ask questions, but you know, they can ask a whole bunch of questions but not necessarily release the answers. So I mean, they won't necessarily release all the information that they have, because it's just part of the myth and the lie that Israel's like the promised land or whatever. Like, yeah, it's the promised land. It's not the promised land for everybody. Some friends of my dad, good, nobody from my family's listening to this, who are, okay, my dad just turned 90. Some friends of his who are his age just immigrated to the state of Israel. And just about any country in the world will not allow an old person to immigrate because they're just going to take up a lot of, because they think they're just going to like need a lot of medical care that the state is going to pay for. Nobody lets old people immigrate. And you know, even if they don't, I mean, places they supposedly, I mean, want people that are going to contribute to the economy, you know. So like basically our friends who immigrated can, my dad forwarded this letter, and you know, an email that they sent, and they'd gone around registering for all this stuff. So yeah, like hopefully, you know, one of them has a stroke tomorrow, and I hope this won't happen. I hope this won't happen. The Israeli government's going to be paying for that, and nobody has a problem with that. They can just integrate because they're Jewish and they happen to be Ashkenazic Jews, white Jews. So meanwhile, one of the things we've followed is there are Ethiopian Jews that have been stuck in refugee camps for 20 years waiting to immigrate. So some of them gotten old in that time, but people that have been, so there's people that have been separated from family members that haven't even been able to go visit. Like some family members have gone to the state, have been allowed to go to the state of Israel, and some haven't. And so they're just split apart. And they don't even get full citizenship. They get like whatever the Israeli equivalent of green card is. And so it just, nobody has a problem with that. I mean, no Jews that believe in the state of Israel do not have a problem with that, not at all. So, I certainly don't. I mean, my dad's not as much of a Zionist as my brother, and he's not even as much of a Zionist as my niece, because she's young and fired up. But that was not a discussion I was going to have with my dad at all. Would not be. I mean, there's simply no point. I do not believe in having political disagreements with family. It's just, so we actually think, me and my dad trade articles about the Queen. See, that's the thing that's funny. He kind of became interested in the Queen too. And I mean, he and my mother were divorced for many, many years before she died, but she would absolutely be crowing if she were alive to see that my dad and me have been following this stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of other things to talk about. But that's the. And when it comes to my brother, and I mean, I don't know, it's like a completely different frame of mind, or I just don't understand it. But we got plenty of other things to talk about. So the map I have up today is showing the former Yugoslavia. And wait a minute, do I have oh no, okay, yeah, Croatia. Oh no, I have it. Okay, so the Yugoslavia was the countries that today are Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Slovenia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. And those countries used to be Yugoslavia. It's this weird 20th century thing, because they were their own countries, but then with World War II and communism, they became one country. And this was established by General Tito in 1945. So that was another one of the places I used to hear. I mean, it was a part of the world that my family didn't have relatives directly from there, but I don't know, it was the sort of place where you have like relatives of relatives. And one of these days, I think I'm going to do a show about kind of the old why I'm sort of interested in these countries like Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, because the characters in the books that my grandmother read me as a kid lived in places like that. So, and when I was a kid, it was still the Soviet Union, and my family did like, a lot of people in my family did like political type stuff having to do with that. So the modern the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was established by Tito in 1945, and then he died in 1980. I kind of remember that. And then there was nationalism, which led to, over about 10 years, which led to those countries breaking up in 1990, which led to the wars in the early 90s, the Bosnian War, Bosnia, and against Serbia and Croatia. So that was a human rights issue that I remember very well. It was happening at the same time as the Rwandan genocide, and attention was focused on Bosnia for, obvious reasons. And Bosnia has we haven't talked about the International Criminal Court in a while. There was a special tribunal established for the former Yugoslavia, for those countries, to try the leaders of those wars for war crimes. And that's one of the things that has not happened in other countries where war crimes have taken place. It's actually something that I should probably do some more research on, because I believe it's the same idea as the Nuremberg trials. The Nuremberg trials were established just to try the Nazis. I think the world is just too big and too full of human rights abuses to try to get everything to certain courts, and countries should it should happen on a smaller level, and it should happen within countries, because if you just send people to the International Criminal Court, you have Europeans trying everybody else, and somehow they managed to do that. South Africa had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and people were tried there for human rights abuses. And so that was considered to be pretty successful, so far as holding people accountable and, I don't know, helping to heal citizens, helping to heal people. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I just read an article called something about nostalgia for Yugoslavia. And I don't know. I mean, General Tito he wasn't Stalin. He wasn't as brutal as Stalin. As far as I know, he didn't send people to death camps like Stalin did, but it was still a repressive society. So there's just disagreement about that. And a young person, like they were talking to young people, and a young person that was interviewed said that he considers himself Yugoslavian. And so you can say that that's partially misplaced, it could be misplaced nostalgia, but he was asked about his family, and he has relatives from all the different countries, from Montenegro, from, my uncle, different. So in a way, I mean, I can kind of see the point that, and I can see why that might make more, I mean, young people, or not even so young, I mean, since people, I don't know if this is, I'm not sure about this, but there's people that could see it like the European Union, like, yeah, we're this nationality, we're that nationality, but we can still be a country. But the reason, and it's the same reason as the EU. People feel, people in, come on, damn it. Okay. People in, for example, Macedonia and Montenegro feel like they don't have economic power, which is true. So people feel that if they combine and become Yugoslavia again, they can have more economic power, and they won't have so many people leaving the country. Oh, okay. So Croatia and Slovenia were members of the Yugoslavian Federation. They became EU members. I don't quite, and the other countries aren't. There's various reasons for that, but that's a big deal economically, and that's what precipitated the Russia-Ukraine war, was Ukraine attempting to join the EU. So I can see why people from these small countries would want that. And so they aren't, I mean, there's, so far as I know, in what I've read, it's not necessarily a revitalization of fascism. So I don't know, that could be kind of interesting, and we'll continue to follow it, because I had like dolls and clothes and stuff from Yugoslavia when I was a kid, so I'm a little sentimental about it. So you want to watch a video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, watch a video, then take a break.
Yes. We're old.
Are we going with the first video?
Yeah, may as well. Oh, fucking.
I joined Uber One because I hate delivery fees and I need to save money for when I get canceled. And I don't want to go back to selling pictures of my feet. I mean, how would I even do that? Find out at bignaturaltoes.net. Join Uber One, or don't, I don't care.
Not showing, Roselle.
I see it. You don't see it?
No.
You said you don't see it?
I don't see it, no.
Yeah, it's on share.
What's going on? You need money?
I paused it right now. You still don't see it?
No.
Hold on, let me see if I see it. Yeah, it's there.
Try the next one. Maybe it's that particular video.
Yeah, I see it on the Zoom too. I think it's someone you're in. I'm looking at it right now on my phone. You ready? I'm gonna hit play again. Hello?
Yeah, try it again.
Did you see it?
No.
That's weird. Cause yeah, it's on the YouTube.
Try the next one.
Hold on. Oh, I think this is it right here. I'm gonna let it play. Hold on.
Okay.
An emergency call and the start of a well-practiced drill. But these firefighters aren't packing their hoses. These days, they're more accustomed to a different threat. This is the Snake Wrangler, a former police officer, now head of the Reptile Rapid Response Team. Today, they're after a poultry poaching python, digesting its meal at the scene of the crime. We've got to be fast, he says. The trap won't work, it might get away. The 3-meter-long serpent tries to escape, but there's nowhere to hide. After a short struggle, it's bundled into a sack and taken away. Back at the station, they've got 2 rooms full of these slithery home invaders. Conditions are overcrowded, but at least they get fed. Emergency services across Bangkok are receiving 60,000 snake-related calls a year, twice as many as 5 years ago.
The reason why we found more snakes in houses is because the aggressive expansion of the city. They don't have a choice because their natural habitat isn't there anymore.
But there's one place in the heart of the city where they're welcome.
They're coming out now with a king cobra, which is the largest venomous snake in the world and by extension one of the most dangerous. And this is one of the few places in the world where they milk them for their venom.
This is the Red Cross Snake Farm, a regional hub for anti-venom production. They extract the poison as part of a show to educate the public. Although this center produces enough anti-venom for most of Southeast Asia, there are some parts of the world where supplies are desperately short.
In South Africa and in India, because they don't have the official anti-venom producer. And the big pharmaceutical company, they stop producing because they lack of profit.
Back at the station, the Snake Wrangler's practicing his skills, perfected over 19 years. But his advice is, don't try this at home. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera, Bangkok.
Welcome to the victory.
All right.
Okay. Let's take a break. That's weird because it wasn't showing for me, but I can try something weird with my permissions. So yes, I already signed off I already paused the Facebook since nothing was showing.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
All right.
Well, 2 minutes, everybody.
Nigga, hey, get your mind right. Ain't no fruit, ain't no UVs, it's the limelight. These niggas hate me, but you love me cause I rhyme tight. And I ain't finna write a hook, a bitch in my life. And all they chillin' with the people get you sidetracked. I see you building, but be careful for the climax. We had some jumpers, ain't no telling who gon' try next. These niggas trippin', we gon' make some like the Pyrex. When I was stuntin' on you niggas, it was slight work. You talked about me like you niggas had knew all about me. A nigga swore he had some partners, they was all around me. But I was reaching, man, that's just the way the mind works. When I was stuntin' on you niggas, it was slight work. I put your girlie in some loafers in a tight shirt. You working day shifts, you giving me that night work. A lot of niggas hit me now, I just be like, work. When I was stuntin' on you niggas, it was slight work. I might work twice as hard, just to show them niggas that they never was who we are. Back with cigars and Belvedere, no disregard. I've been with the bars, I'm right next to the Riddler bar. I'm doper than y'all. Matter of fact, I'm dope as them all. I can take my old bars and start quoting them off. I'm never impressed, and I understand the need to evolve. If you think I changed, I did, and I still flame the blick. Mac truck, make you pick lanes and stick. Big chains and sticks, I'm still lame and lit. Look,
Done with the liquor and love ballads, insecurities, missed opportunities, seeing challenges, sadomasochists preach to the masses, posing as apathists, actual characters playing out a fictional narrative. Love is something you teach, hate is something inherited. I really never gave it my all. Guess I'm arrogant. I really gave my brother them bitches because of my hesitance. I'm really fucked, so I'm really numb to embarrassment. I really gave a fuck, maybe two, and you made a mess of it. I'm really having fun with a blunt, deleting your messages like, pull up in the hood, check my references. I've been big bro, start respecting it. You can question my actions, never my penmanship. You can question my methods, but my intent is stiff. You think you special, don't you, nigga? You weren't special until after we put pressure on you, nigga. Showed you up and made you feel you had to flex up on a nigga. Now you rapping twice as hard and half as many people feel it, nigga. Like lick to the Q, I come with it. Me and QP the P, what's up with it? I chill with the rappers, I'm done with it. Feel how you wanna feel, take it and run with it, nigga. Yeah, for real. Fuck, nigga.
I'm back at it, a rap addict, addicted to my spits. The verbal constitution blue on my ribs. The red drip, but I stay too dry. A wise guy wants to pick up the chocolate top. So how high can women get? I can get so damn high. I can give it your rap skills. So pass this. The vaccine for whackness. Make it easy. Don't make a move to your practice. I'm back at it. China's a bad habit. Smoke mics like your mouth in a crack habit. Yeah. So put the pipe down. Never going hypey, but got the high sound. H got it. Keep going in. Keep the phone friend like I'm a phone win. Get to show me kin in the battle. I'm gonna win. Let me a phone open your mouth. Old as sin.
Yeah, we are back. Anna's Global History Radio.
Oh my God, he said it. Amazing.
Well, man, I remember at the time you done changed up the name like to different names, and it's just like every time I do it, I know it's within that genre of names.
It is. It's fine. It's fine. Well, thank you, Reverend Hannah. Thank you for listening. Reverend Hannah was listening. I don't know. That is so fucking weird, man. I mean, we've been showing these videos on screen share for weeks, and it works fine. So
yeah, but the internet, man. It's been acting weird. And plus, there was an earthquake I heard, so you never know what could be going on.
There sure was. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's gonna happen once in a while where the internet will be funny style. So
yeah. I mean, well, for me, yeah, because I was like, because when my house was shaking, I used to think it was an earthquake or something. And I would find out it wasn't. But then when it is an earthquake, I'm like, okay, it's not just my house. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yes. So did you like those videos?
Yeah, those are some cool videos. I like the snake one too. The one with the snake.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was very cool. Yeah. See, I switched. I can get it to go to the stream. Anyway, I mean, I switched so I can go to the stream, but then I would just be getting too many sound sources. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So you like when we were just watching it, you couldn't see it at all?
No, total black screen.
On the Zoom, you couldn't see it.
Correct.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Yes.
Definitely be able to see everything I could see.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, it doesn't make any sense if we're both, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, and I was just going through looking at my preferences and all that to see if because there's something weird that happens sometimes with audio and preferences. So I was trying to see if it was something like that with video, but I couldn't come up with anything. So
yeah, it shouldn't make a difference, especially since I'm the one hosting it. So that's weird.
Yeah.
That's very weird. I don't know what could have happened, but
yeah.
I guess when we do another video, we'll see if it works now.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that we haven't talked about for a while is the baby formula shortage. I felt bad. I'm like, oh, okay, guys, babies, we didn't forget about you, babies. I'm still worried about you. I think there was somebody who who comes to the food distribution a lot, who just was like pregnant forever. And then she wasn't there for a while. So I was wondering if she'd had her baby, and she brought the baby in today. And so I think that kind of reminded, there was an article about it in the New York Times over the weekend. And so there's liquid baby formula and powdered baby formula. And most people that use formula use powdered formula. But powdered formula is actually not, I guess that's one of the reasons that these problems happen with babies getting sick, is because it's actually harder. The formula isn't sterile like liquid formula is. I mean, most people, which I guess liquid formula is even more expensive than powdered formula, and powdered formula isn't cheap. So it's gotten better, but there's now like a 10% shortage. Okay, like at the worst, there was a 23% shortage, and Biden just authorized 330,000 pounds of baby formula from Australia. So I wonder how many, I wonder how many babies that will be. But I think now part of the problem is it's not so much, I think it's not so much just the formula shortage, it's the supply chain because even if they ship in this formula, it's still difficult to get it out because of all the supply chain problems, the shortage with truckers, and everything is a lot more expensive to get anything anywhere. So yeah. I mean, I have a little Google alert for it's United States infant formula shortage 2022, because there's all these like categories on Google of like things. So that's what it is. So it's gotten better, but it's still not what it should be. I mean, it is we're getting up to 2023. It's the United States of America. People should not be worried about where they're going to find baby formula.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been Anna Netrebko is a famous opera singer known as the Beyonce of opera. Opera tries to get stars. It really tries, and it succeeds by opera standards. And so she's a wonderful singer and very beautiful. and she is of Russian descent. And so she was dumped from the Met. The New York Metropolitan Opera is the most prestigious opera in the United States. And so, and very prestigious in the world. So she was dumped from there. I think if they do that, they still have to, if they still have to pay her. Opera's weird about stuff like that. I think actually people's contracts are really weird because they don't get paid unless they go on stage. So it could be different than other things. I think if they bounce somebody, they don't need to pay them. I think because opera just is so strict about that. Like if somebody said, if there's a problem or something, there's just very little built-in security in opera. So all she did, like she's appeared with Putin, and that's just, I mean, major artists appear with the leaders of their countries. They just do. And certainly more so in Europe, where the government subsidizes the arts much more so than in the United States. So that's another reason why she would have appeared with Putin. And like she praised him once, like years ago. She issued a statement of concern or something, but that still wasn't enough for people. And I think it's like and so she was replaced at the Met with a Ukrainian soprano who came out on stage wrapped in a Ukrainian flag. So I just think it's bullshit. And back to the mentality of, artists don't have any more responsibility for their governments than anyone, even if she really does think Putin's a good guy. And so there were people that really expected her to come out and criticize Vladimir Putin. I mean, her family's still in Russia. She could be putting her family in danger by doing that. And it's just a symbol of, I mean, if artists want to speak out politically, yeah, they should, but they shouldn't be forced to. I mean, particularly just because of one issue that's getting a lot of attention. And it's happened with there's a cultural boycott of the state of Israel, and that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think it's terrible. There were people that at Seattle Opera, where I went for years, people were critical of one of their principal conductors because he's Israeli. Well, he's not. That's when, okay, like they're not government officials. They don't have any more control over the government than anyone. So why should they be expected to do things a certain way? And opera is just really extreme because there's not a lot. It's so complicated and expensive to produce. There's just not a whole lot of opera companies, and there's not a whole lot of world-renowned opera companies. I mean, that's one reason it's a very, very difficult field. It's one of the reasons Seattle Opera, where I used to go, was committed to colorblind casting. They always had diverse singers, and how it was described is that Spate Jenkins, who was the general director for 33 years, single-handedly made world-class opera more diverse, because he promoted, I mean, he developed the careers of Black and people of color opera singers. And there's so few world-class singers anyway, that, I mean, you know, it's like a percentage sort of thing. If you have like a smaller pool, everybody, you know, has a bigger impact than if there are tons of singing. Yeah. So basically he did it, I mean, you know, flat out, you know. And so, but the point is, I mean, firing somebody from a major opera company, it's just such a big deal. It's such a small world. And so what I was just reading about, Anna Netrebko just performed at a small, relatively small opera company, because people are booked years in advance. But because of this happening, she had space in her schedule, so she took a role someplace else at a company that was much smaller. And so good for them. They got to have Anna Netrebko come sing for them. And so, you know how that stuff is all like, you know, she's used to making so much money at these world-class places. So I mean, if she needs to sing at some smaller venues for a while, I mean, hopefully she won't mind too much. Or, I mean, because that can turn into a win for a lot of people. That could mean that people that don't get to see Anna Netrebko will get to see her. So like, fuck the Met. I mean, you know, they're just totally bowing to public pressure. I mean, there's people who are really caught up in the Ukrainian war who don't pay attention to things anywhere else in the world. And yeah, it's not, you know, it's, and even if, you know, she's appeared with Putin. Well, when Putin wants you to appear and you're Russian, you do that. He could have, I mean, he could have completely fucked things up for her if she didn't do that. So I just think it's real. It just partially makes me mad, because it's such a violation of music, and you're taking something that is the universal language that brings people together, that inspires people, that helps people communicate, and you're just putting temporal things on it. You know, I mean, it's one thing if a performer like does something wrong, if they do something wrong, that's one thing. But you know, basically all she did wrong was being born in Russia. So anyway, who knows? Maybe she'll come out here to the West Coast and I can see her perform. So yes, that is the kind of craziness with you know, celebrity mad country. So I watched a film this week. I was at my friend Mario's and Calvin. So this weekend, okay, yeah, Mario might be napping because I sent him a message asking if he wanted to come on the show to talk about his event this weekend, and I haven't heard back from him. He usually does. So this weekend, Mario Saucedo produces an event called Fiesta Patrias every year in Vallejo, and it's a celebration of Mexico's independence. And so that's this Saturday in Vallejo. Mario's events are always just off the hook. There will be music, dancing, and booths, and a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, I mean, Mario's events bring in people from all over the county. It's really cool. I'm helping out with their social media, so I've been trying to find more information about it and post it on their Facebook page. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more about it. But anyway, people, Fiesta de Patrias Saturday, downtown Vallejo. So Mario was watching a film and I came in and I saw that there was diving in it, and I love to scuba dive. I haven't been able to do it for a long time. You know, it's expensive, but I just love it. I wanted to scuba dive for years and years and years because I love water, and I couldn't, you know, and then I eventually got the money and the wherewithal to be able to do it for a couple of years. And like now I haven't been able to for a while, but so anyway, I really wanted to see it. But it's about free diving, and free diving is where you it's where you dive without equipment, without oxygen, and try and set records. So in a way, you're like holding your breath. I mean, it's holding your breath, kind of. So I just, you know, there's a lot of people that no way in hell will scuba dive. A lot of people find scuba diving really freaking, you know, it freaks out a lot of people. People think it's super dangerous. Do you have any interest in scuba diving?
I've never really done it. I never thought about doing it. I'm not afraid to swim, but scuba diving, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that are like, no way in hell. It's one of those things people tend to be kind of extreme about, like you love it or you think it's, so you're like, a lot of people are like, no way in hell. I like stuff like that. Opera is kind of like that. People that are into opera are really into it. There's not a lot of casual opera goers. And so diving's a little bit like that. With scuba diving, you have a lot of mechanisms to protect yourself if you get into trouble. Like, one big thing with scuba diving is that a lot of it is just really slow. So I mean, there's stuff that could happen all of a sudden, but mostly you're going really slowly. So you have time to figure out if you're a problem. Like you have a primary source of air and you have a secondary source of air. There's different, you have, like with your gear, there's you have basically you have backups, and you're supposed to always go with somebody so they can help you out. Sometimes I think it's safer. I mean, sometimes I think the people you go with can fuck stuff up even more, but that's another story. So, but with free diving, I'm just like, okay, if you run out of breath, then you're, what are you going to do? I mean, it just sort of seems like you don't have a, backup, okay, yeah, you don't have backup, and you can't, god damn, that's amazing. You can't, like, even if you run out of breath, you can't like take, you'll have their safety divers down there to try and like get you up, but if you stop breathing, you can't like take a breath. You can't like have bottled oxygen with you to take a breath if you run out of air, because it would make your lungs explode. You can't do it for some reason. Physiologically, you can't. You can't like change your mind partway and decide that you do want to suck off that oxygen tank. So that would scare the shit out of me. I mean, when I do something, I want a safety net. I want a backup, because stuff, that's kind of, mistakes happen. Stuff gets fucked up. I mean, I want to have like a backup. So with free diving, you have really, really long fins. They're really different than scuba fins, because you want to get down as fast as possible, and then so you can get as deep as possible and then come up. But I did not realize that there's another way to do it. So I was watching this film, and it's about this, shy young woman who falls for a guy that's a champion free diver. And what they did was, what he would do, it like basically would be like a machine mode of, like, they would call it a sled, like basically getting on a mechanized platform that takes you down. That scared the shit out of me. I mean, because that will get you so much deeper than however far you can go down with just yourself and your fins. That blew my fucking mind. And especially when you look at it, it looks like it's just so creepy looking. And so he was trying to so for an example, I mean, with recreational diving, there's something or other that you pass after. There's a category you pass where you can go down to 30 feet. And then there's a category you pass when you go down below 60 feet. And 60 feet is, everything is really like with diving. I mean, even with like, you can be like 10 feet, just like 10 feet in the water and feel like it's much deeper, because it's just a completely different world. I mean, the first time I was able to do scuba outside, I was so excited. And the deeper you go, the faster you use up air. And the big thing with scuba diving is you have to go up slowly, because it will turn, the bubbles will like enter your bloodstream. You can die if you go up too fast, at first when I was watching people like bomb up from their free dives, I was like, huh? And then I realized it's like, oh, well, they're not like breathing any bottled air, so they can come up, bottled gas is what they call it, so they can come up as quick as they want. But so basically, you go down to 60 feet, you can feel pretty fucking deep. I feel like I can, you feel pretty far down. You can, and just kind of the deeper you go, it just feels, it's just wild. So, with the certification I have, I don't think I'm supposed to go below 60 feet, but sometimes just depending on where you are. So you can like pop down to like 70 or 80. You have like gear that modulates that, so you can see how much air you're using, because the deeper you go, the quicker you use up your air. So that's the big thing with diving. You have to, you just have to like calculate that, because you can't come up too quickly. So you just have to make sure that you have enough air to slowly go up. So I went down to 100 feet once because I just wanted to see what it felt like. And I was diving with somebody who was real experienced, and I told him I wanted to do it, and he was spotting me. And there's just kind of some real, diving has this whole procedure where you need certain licenses to do it, and it's a fucking scam, because it's kind of like they want you to prove that you're going to be careful with their fucking mechanisms and all that, and it's just like it's intended for like wild young. I mean, again, I was talking about the roller coasters and shit, and like, teenage boys and young men. And so like for me, I'm like, I don't need all their fucking mechanism, all their fucking procedures and all of that. Like, yeah, I know how to do all the safety stuff, but I am going to be out of there at the first sign of anything wrong. Because that's the thing, stuff happens really slowly. So there's stuff you'll learn, like, okay, if this happens, this, and you do this. But for me, I'm like, I'm going to be out of there before any of that happens. So with going down to 100 feet, I kind of went down and then I just sort of slowly worked my way back up. But one of the things that happens, I mean, one of the reasons it can really change how your brain is working. You can get, I forget what it's called, like nitrous high or something, where you feel kind of drunk and you lose track of whatever. And so probably like for some young people, or even like not so young, that are like down there doing their thing and blah blah, and like, because a lot of people start, they don't think anything's going to happen to them. Like, yeah, that's going to be more of a problem. For me, I know that that's something that happens, and so I was really aware that it could be happening. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go down to this, and then I'm going to go up. It's like I had it in my mind that's what I was, that because, I'm like, I'm responsible, because I am like, I never, I said something this is how stupid in a way they're, because I said something to someone like, I don't ever want to be rescued, and they're like, oh, blah blah, but that's all, you're like being that's like so bad. Like, no, you need to let yourself be rescued, blah blah blah. There's such terrible judgment. I'm thinking like, no, asshole, that is why I'm really cautious, and I get the fuck out when I start to see a problem, because I don't want to be fucking rescued. If I needed to be rescued, yes, of course I would let myself be rescued. If I needed help, I get help. But for the most part, if you're fucking careful and cautious, you're gonna be okay. For the most part, like, yeah, stuff could happen. So that's what I meant. Because I mean, like, for me, I don't know. I mean, I'm just real big on self. So anyway, the big thing in this show was they wanted to hit the record they were trying to get, was like 180 meters or 173 meters. So that's what they were going on. Being a United States idiot, I did not know what that was, what that translated to in feet. So I like put it into Google. 173 meters is 567 feet.
Ooh.
Like, God, there were some people that I dove with who were just real fanatics, dove all the time, and they went down to 200 feet, and that was a huge deal. And I could barely believe it. I was like, wow. I mean, because being underwater with your air is just a completely different experience. So like it's almost like the first time I ever went scuba diving, I just, even with scuba diving with your like snorkel, I mean, even the first time I ever went snorkeling, I like put my head in, I had the breathing up. I was like, wow, this is totally different. You feel totally different with your breathing underwater, even with a snorkel. So, but basically that's record setting. So, and so they have, so for safety for free diving, what they do is have, they have whatever that chute thing is, which takes people down, and then the platform thing, they'll have divers stationed where along to help you in case you get into problems. But like, say the free diver needed to be brought up, they'd have to do it in sort of a relay. Like, say they're going down like 500 whatever feet, you need a bunch of people lined up, because say like somebody will grab the diver and go up and pass them to the next person, because they can't just go up, because that would kill them too if you like go up too quickly from that depth. Because it's like you're I mean, it'd be really it's like you have these bubbles in your lungs because you're breathing this nitrous whatever. So so it's so you have somebody. So like with some of them, I mean, I've talked with people, like I talked to somebody who's like a professional diver, and like they have platforms or something. I don't remember like how deep and long he did, but he said that like he would have to wait like on like 7 hours. You can wait for even to get out of the water, because if you've been going for so long, so deep, you have to like go up and then restore your equilibrium or whatever. So so for this free diving, so they'd have people stationed all along the chute thing. And so like like the person that was down there to spot the free diver would have to stay under what, like basically would need to just chill underwater. They'd have to gradually make his way up and basically like chill underwater for like 3 hours before he could even come out, because that would kill him too. So yeah, pretty fucking extreme. And so so in this story, in this film, I mean, I was watching it for the underwater thing. It was sort of like, you're okay, you know, innocent young woman falls for arrogant prick. And so he in the and so in the film, he gets kind of jealous and fucks with their gear. So when the shoot thing took her all the way down, and there's supposed to be a balloon, there's supposed to be something that releases so that it starts to bring her back up. Because like the only free diving I'd ever heard of before is where you kind of like go down on your own with your long fins and come up on your own, basically. But on this platform, so basically she's coming up holding on to the platform, basically, but they had it rigged so, I mean, he like took the air out of it so it wouldn't rise, basically. So she was stuck down there. It was really scary to watch. And so they brought her up like with a tag, the tag thing, you know, even though, I mean, it's so dangerous for the safety divers too, because, you know, like, yeah, you're supposed to like take the person like 10 feet and then stop so that you can keep decompressing or whatever, but that's your friend in trouble. So yeah, it's going to be real hard to just stay down there. So, it was based on a true story of a woman free diver that, you know, was under, you know, died trying to set a record. And so as happens in stuff like that, like, yeah, there's people that blamed her husband. So there was suspicion about whether her husband had tampered with the equipment. So, but, you know, I realized this because I always got to go look up a movie online after I've seen it. I realized that at the end of the film, they showed a picture of the woman. She died in 2002, saying, you know, dedicated to Allison or Audrey, whatever her name was, and dedicated to her. And right after that, it says something like, this is a work of fiction. So I'm like, oh my God, man, if I were that husband, I would sue the shit out of them. I'm like, that is no fucking joke. You made a film about a woman who's like, it showed the boyfriend like with some of the gear, and then another guy came over and said, what are you doing? We already checked it. Because you know how that is when you have a procedure, a safety procedure, like, okay, one person does this, one person does that, and you don't go over and you don't do it, you don't deviate from that. So they did that. And so then it showed them at the police station, and then it ended with the guy. So of course, like, they have like another guy that's like sort of in love with her too, but she's like with the asshole. And so, I mean, in the film is pretty much saying he did it. So I just thought that was so fucked up. Like, okay, you could just make a film about a woman free diver and have this. You don't need, but here you are dedicating it to this person, and in the film the boyfriend kills her. Like, that's terrible. I mean, like, you're practically, you kind of are like accusing this woman's husband of killing her. So I don't know. I mean, you know, they get that stuff checked by lawyers, but that is that's a real fucked up thing to do, because a lot of people are not, again, I mean, I didn't, you know, I went online to look up this woman. I went on YouTube to look for her and read it, and, you know, see, it's the thing, you know, because you'll see like comments from 10 years ago, and then there's suddenly like a bunch of comments from like the past couple of days because other people have seen the movie too. So that's what you fucking do, man. So like now people are gonna start like accusing this guy of killing her. So I think that's really pretty fucking toxic. So want to take a break and then come back?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we'll be back shortly, people.
Coach here. Yo. CA, baby. West. Yo. Yeah, MC Wicks. Hey, yo, what up? Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get dumb rich for myself, fuck a bitch. Raised in the gutter, I was high, not the trick. I kick game and ism is so slick. It's a blessing that I even exist. Trying to manifest my dreams of revenue streams. Lessons with the sun, rough y'all to feel the breeze. Ratchet bitches in a bottle with Hennessy. I pop my collar, I know that they feeling me. I'm connected, don't make me your enemy. Legendary, speak on me for the centuries. I keep it playing, I guess it's a Cali thing. Authentic, not as strict on your TV screen. See me with 40 midgets up in the limousine. Put your mind to it, you can do anything. Put your mind to it, you can do anything. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins. I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get filthy rich off of talking my shit. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins. I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get. Let's go. Filthy rich off of talking my shit. My whole life I've been broke. I'm out for the dough, cause that shit be crushing my soul. But I got flows and I'm destined to blow up. I got bars, I don't need no luck. So pass me a 40 and let's get drunk. If you love West Coast, throw your fucking dubs up. If the bitch out of pocket, tell that hoe to shut up. Keep it moving, kick rocks, fly shit forever and never stops. I'm like the mayor when I walk in my city blocks. Popping out from the ghetto, who would have thought that I would chase my dreams and make it happen? Hood famous, fucking with platinum. Respected by the real ones in my city, I'm captain, that's a fact. I ain't lying, I acting, gotta keep it playing out like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins, I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get filthy rich off the talking my shit. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins, I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get filthy rich off the talking my shit.
The thing is, you just can't think about it. You just gotta let go and trust in yourself. Cause you're good. Here we go now. 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 So let's go. All you gotta do is jump. Don't be scared, just jump. Ready, set, jump, jump. Yeah, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump. Yeah, take a leap and trust that you'll land on your feet. All you gotta do is jump. Tell them snakes goodbye. I'ma teach you how to fly. All you gotta do is jump. Skydiving in a hurricane. Left my parachute like I never heard of pain. Hit my bullseye with perfect aim.
game. Now I'm killing them softly like when Roberta sang. Yeah, you could do the same. You can choose the fame, but don't confuse the game. You can paint a picture, then you can choose the frame. You can leave your mark, can they remove the stain? Don't worry about them other guys. Otherwise, you'll scare away the butterflies. Yeah, the only thing on your mind should be the look in your mother's eyes if your brother dies. Yeah, so throw caution to the wind. If you can't, then you're your own obstacle again. If you don't hold your breath, is it possible to swim? It's all psychological, my friend. All you gotta do is jump. Don't be scared, just jump. Ready, set, jump, jump, yeah, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump, yeah, take a leap and trust that you'll land on your feet. All you gotta do is jump, tell them snakes goodbye. I'm gone, I'ma teach you how to fly. All you gotta do is jump. Come on, take a chance. It's not that scary. Come on, take a glance. The ones stuck on the ground can advance. The ones flying around you, they enhance. Yeah, you gotta spread those wings. Hold on too tight, or you're gonna shred those dreams. People have crash landed, I read those things. Fears run your life, let's behead those kings. Yeah, it's simple, just mimic a damn plane. And let the music be your guide, not your damn brain. What a damn shame, cats that can't hang. Don't understand it, end up crashing in the fast lane. And that's lane, we were born to fly. And if we don't, then we're sworn to die. So just let go, baby, and then close your eyes so we can transform the sky. All you gotta do is jump. Don't be scared, just jump. Ready, set, jump, jump, yeah, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump, yeah, take a leap and trust that you'll land on your feet. All you gotta do is jump, tell them snakes goodbye. I'ma teach you how to fly. All you gotta do is jump, jump. Here we go now. Here we go now, 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 so let's go. All you gotta do is jump, don't be scared, just jump. Ready, set, jump, jump, yeah, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump, yeah, take a leap and trust that you'll land on your feet. All you gotta do is jump, tell them snakes goodbye. I'ma teach you how to fly. All you gotta do is jump, don't be scared, just jump. Ready, set, jump, jump, yeah, jump, jump. All you gotta do is jump, yeah, take a leap and trust that you'll land on your feet. All you gotta do is jump, tell them snakes goodbye. I'ma teach you how to fly. All you gotta do is jump.
Hey, we back, y'all. Anna, you in the building?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. So I was catching up on Kenya. We'll have to talk more about Kenya next week. William Ruto was sworn in as president. So he's from a rural area. His Raila Odinga, the opposition leader, did not attend. He said he had serious concerns. He doesn't think it's legitimate. I don't know. Hey, quiet, you guys. Come on. We've been doing so good. Come on. What the fuck, you guys? I know what I don't know what the fuck, you guys. They've been doing so good. God damn it. So yeah, so congratulations to William Ruto. He is committed. He claims, the Kenyan Supreme Court certified him. And so yeah, so we'll send the best wishes. I have online friends in Kenya. Okay, so there's a ex-Botswana president recalls Buckingham Palace mix-up. So Ian Khama, who's the president of Botswana, is the son of, what's his name? Segway, something like that. Khama. I can't pronounce this. I can't can't pronounce his name, the first president of Botswana, who was a chief. And Botswana was a protectorate of Great Britain, not a colony. And that is because Botswana did not have any diamonds or riches or natural resources that anybody wanted. So nobody tried to colonize them. They were pretty much left alone. So that's what it fucking takes, and to be kind of left alone. But they were still a protectorate, which they did to avoid being taken over as well. Even though people mostly left them alone. But he was introduced to the Queen as the president of Zimbabwe instead of Botswana. The page or whoever announces people to the Queen announced him as the wrong country, and he said he immediately looked at the Queen to see her reaction was, and that she gave no reaction at all. She should have apologized. But as Mr. Kama sat down beside her, she told him not to worry about the mix-up and explained the officer was new and probably overwhelmed by the occasion. And she said she knew I wasn't the president of Zimbabwe. She knew who I was. She made a nice, pleasant excuse for him. And I mean, what's kind of interesting is that there's the Kamas, his parents, his mother was English, and then his dad was a tribal leader. And they met while he was in school and married, and it was an international scandal because it was the 50s and it was an interracial relationship. So she went to Botswana, and Ruth, his mother, and he wasn't Segway, wasn't allowed to return for years. They were kept apart by the government. And so at that time, like in the 50s, you'd think that there weren't like paparazzi harassment like there is now, but they were followed and all of that. So then he was voted to be the first president of Botswana when Botswana became a republic. So that's the son of Ruth and Segway. And so embarrassing, but I don't know. I mean, the reason I know about it is because Susan Williams, who wrote the book about Dag Hammarskjöld that really inspired me, also wrote a book about the Kamas. That's why I know about them. And then there was a film made out of it. And yeah, because I was looking to see what was going on with Kenya and their new president. Okay, it's the new season of The Handmaid's Tale is on tonight. So I'm pretty excited about that because it's released on the 14th. So it's midnight. But the West Coast gets it 3 hours earlier. So after our show, I will be watching that. So it's a really exciting week, and Clerks 3 is released. Super exciting. So we're gonna go see that, right?
Yes, we are. I'm thinking, you feel like seeing it on Monday, or is that too late?
Sure. No,
let's do it Monday.
No. Okay.
Let's do Monday.
Cool. Yeah, because it's a big week coming up. Friday night, everybody, is Twitch Talk Live. So yeah, we're hoping to get more. Age said he's gonna come.
Agezilla.
Yes. And yeah, so Joseph's supposed to be coming in on the live from England, and yeah, I mean, it's funny because I asked Mouse to pick the episode, and he said he'd always liked Maurice, who was Samantha's father. So I was like, cool, Maurice episode, because I mean, that's the cool thing about like getting people's suggestions for programming, because I mean, I love Maurice too, but I might not have thought of it because that was kind of one of the problems with Twitch Talk, the podcast I used to be on, is that people would get sort of he would ask me for like suggestions of what to do, and I would try and get balanced, but I don't know. Of course, it could all be we will do a lot of Uncle Arthur episodes because he's the best. But yeah, so it's going to be a Maurice episode, and then the next month is going to be the Halloween episode where Endora and Uncle Arthur are in a fight, because Endora and Uncle Arthur fighting is pretty much the best. Yeah. Do you know what you're going to be playing?
60s and 70s music.
Okay.
I don't have anything special. I just kind of see how the crowd goes and just play. So it's not, I mean, I never just play something. It's just, you don't want to get caught up in it, just getting entranced on playing certain things. You just read the crowd and just keep going with that.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, so hopefully it'll just keep going. So we weren't able to get flyers this month because all my flyer people are super busy. So yeah, I wasn't able to do that aspect of publicity, but we always have a good time. So yeah, Twitch Talk Live Friday night. And yeah, you got anything else to announce?
Oh no, that's about it.
Okay. Very cool. About ready to wrap up?
Ready when you are.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. We will be back next Tuesday. And come to Twitch Talk Live, 717 Marin, Friday night, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Cool.
It's going to be bomb.
Okay.
All right.
Later. Yeah. All right. See you then. Bye.